The late summer sun was hanging low over Cleveland, painting the city in that warm orange glow that made Lake Erie shimmer like polished copper. But inside the Browns' facility, all that glowed was anticipation. Rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders, son of Hall of Famer and cultural icon Deion coach Prime Sanders, had just been named the starter for the team's preseason opener. It wasn't just another football announcement. This was a story about legacy, pressure, and the kind of expectations you can't measure with a stopwatch or a combined drill. Reporters were already buzzing about the news, filling timelines with hot takes. Some said it was too soon. Others claimed it was inevitable. But all of them knew one thing. The elder Sanders would have something to say. The call. Deion was in Colorado, finishing a film session with his Buffaloes when his phone rang. The name on the screen made him smile. Lil Man. Pop, Shedeur's voice came through, calm but carrying an undercurrent of electricity. I'm starting. Deion paused. This wasn't the first time he'd heard those words. He'd heard them in high school, when Shedeur took over as a freshman. He'd heard them again at Jackson State, and later at Colorado. But this was different. How you feel? Deion asked. Like I've been ready my whole life, Shedeur said without hesitation. Prime's public statement. By the next morning, Deion was standing in front of a cluster of microphones, wearing his signature shades and a smile that was equal parts pride and challenge. The room was quiet. Reporters knew when Coach Prime was about to drop lines worth printing. First of all, Deion began, this ain't just about my son. This is about a young man who's been putting in the work, day in and day out. Y'all see the highlight clips. Y'all see the social media. But you don't see the nights he stayed up studying film when everybody else was out. You don't see the early mornings when he's at the facility before the janitor turns on the lights. He leaned forward, voice dropping into that preacher's rhythm he was famous for. This is the NFL. This is the league. Ain't no daddy here to save him. The only thing saving him is preparation and performance. And trust me, he's prepared. Behind the scenes, Deion's words weren't just for the cameras. Behind closed doors, he'd been brutally honest with Shedeur. Son, they don't care your last name's Sanders. In fact, some of them gonna use it against you. They gonna wait for you to slip so they can say, see? He ain't all that. Just his daddy's hype. You can't give them that chance. You gotta play perfect, even when you ain't perfect. Shedeur, unfazed, simply nodded. I know, Pop. But I'm built for this. The city reacts. Cleveland was divided. Browns fans were starving for a quarterback who could finally end decades of heartbreak. Some were ready to believe in Shedeur instantly, charmed by his poise, arm talent, and a certain swagger that echoed his father's prime days. Others weren't sold, not yet. One local columnist wrote, "The Browns don't need flash, they need a foundation. Let's see if Shedeur is brick or just bright lights." Deion read it. He chuckled. Brick? Son, we buildin' skyscrapers over here. The night before. On the eve of his first start, Shedeur was in his hotel room, the playbook spread out on the desk. His phone buzzed, a FaceTime from Deion. Coach Prime wasn't wearing shades this time. His eyes were serious, almost soft. Lil Man, he said, tomorrow ain't about proving the haters wrong. It's about proving the believers right. You got folks who've been riding with you since day one. Play for them. Play for your teammates. Play for that kid who used to toss the ball around in the backyard dreaming about this moment. Shedeur smiled. I got you, Pop. Game day. The stadium lights bathed the field in white fire as Shedeur jogged out in his Browns uniform for the first time as QB1. The crowd roared, some cheers, some cautious claps. Up in a private suite, Deion watched from behind his sunglasses, arms crossed. Every snap felt like a chapter being written in a book they'd been authoring together for 21 years. The first drive was steady. A crisp slant pass here. A perfectly timed check down there. Then, midway through the first quarter, Shedeur dropped back, saw the coverage break, and threaded a 25-yard strike between two defenders. The crowd erupted. Deion's grin widened. That's my boy. After the game. The Browns didn't win. Preseason games rarely matter in that way. But Shedeur had shown poise beyond his years. No interceptions. Quick reads. Leadership in the huddle. Reporters swarmed Deion as he exited the stadium. One asked if this was the proudest he'd ever been. Proudest? Nah, Deion said. The proudest I've ever been was watching that boy be a man when nobody was watching. But tonight was confirmation. He belongs. The bigger picture. Deion knew the journey was just starting. One start didn't make a career, but it could set a tone. And if there was one thing both Sanders' men understood, it was the power of setting the tone early. As they hugged in the tunnel that night, Deion whispered something only Shedeur could hear. It wasn't about stats or throws. It was about heart, about resilience, about keeping your name untarnished in a league that could chew you up. Shedeur nodded, already looking toward the next game. Because for the Sanders family, the first start was never the end of the story. It was just the opening drive.